You're now listening to Soundspace, the podcast where we explore the space of sound.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soundspace. Unfortunately, for the last time, that feels really weird to say. And today it's all three of us. It's Jayan, Q, and myself. This is going to be our final episode of Soundspace. Today we're just going to be talking about the last year we had, looking through some episodes, some memorable moments, just in general, taking a look back at the last 14 months or so. So how's it going, Jayan? How's it going, Q? How you guys doing?
I'm doing all right,
good.
man.
Pretty busy, but we're good.
Ryan tuckered me out yesterday, but I'm feeling good.
Oh, that sounds nasty.
You gotta give context.
That
You gotta
sounds
give
nasty.
context when you say it like
Not
that.
gonna lie.
In a skiing kind of way, not in a tender lovemaking kind of way.
We went skiing on Mount Royal. It was really nice. It was. I got him out of his dark cave of a studio, which seems to be like the only thing I'm able to do with him nowadays. He's like, "Oh, I got a session." I'm like, "Yeah, but what about after?" I was like, "I guess I have time." He's like, "Perfect, let's go skiing."
No, truly, I would not leave the apartment or the studio if it were not for this man. So very grateful.
I got you, bro.
Thanks, homie.
So before we start, I just really wanted to thank all of our listeners, thank all of our guests. We truly do appreciate all of you, all the time that you gave us. I see that we have some day ones in there.
100%.
And then throughout the time, we have some newcomers. That was truly, it means a lot. Thank you. On that note, we started this podcast because we are passionate about the world of sound and curious about hearing other people's stories. So we wanted to share it with the rest of you. Me, for example, I remember wanting to start a career in audio pretty early on in life. When I was younger, I was like making music on FL Studio or whatever. I think I might have been like 11 or 12 years old. Before that, I was DJing in my parents' basement. So music has always been a huge passion for me. And then eventually I pursued it professionally and went on to university and so forth. Can you guys maybe share a story of like when you first knew audio was going to be a big part of your lives? And I know you might have already mentioned it, but just for the sake of things, let's just retell or maybe tell a different story that we might have not heard.
You said you're DJing in a basement. Was that like parties and stuff?
No, in my parents' basement.
In your parents? Oh, just solo.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just vibing down here. Some
My
neon
first-
lights.
Yeah, my first party was probably at 12 years old, but I was DJing at Sweet 16.
Dang.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time. What was your musical selection at that age? I'm very curious. Was it like embarrassing? Like, oh God, I was playing freaking...
Probably, but it was like a lot of house music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so anyway, what were we talking about?
So we're talking about like why we wanted to get into audio, right?
Yeah, so like share a story with us briefly,
I'm trying to think of... because I've been in music as long as I can remember, but the moment I think I wanted to be on the behind the microphone instead of in front of it was probably this one session that my stepdad took me to. He has this trio that plays kind of, covers, rockish songs, pop songs, and they do them in their own way. And they went to a studio. They were just going to record a couple of the originals that the singer wrote. And I was just going to watch, maybe help out, just wrap cables and whatever. And that was the first time I'd really been able to like sit down and watch an entire session. His studio, like a producer doing his thing, and he had this big, beautiful console, and all of the faders for each of the channels. And I specifically liked the idea of, this is going to sound very naive, but the notion that you could hear a song and be like, I don't like that. Let's change it to something more like this was very new to me, and it was very appealing because.
Having control.
Yeah, having control. I very much like the idea of being in control. You're just like, all of these faders are in front of me, and I just get to make decisions about like, no, there's too much bass. I'm going to pull this back and stuff like that. Because I think I've always had those thoughts. Like I've always been going, like I like this song, but this is a thing that's a problem and it gets in the way of my enjoyment. And if I could just eliminate that, then it would be perfect. Like I've always had thoughts like that about songs since I was a kid. So when I saw that in my stepdad's band session, I was immediately like, oh, I bet I could be really good at this. So that was on a whim, and I'm not even joking, because I had zero life direction to like before 18. I think I was 18 at the time. No, I was 17. But I had no idea what I wanted to do with myself. I thought I was going to go into the sciences, and I was panicking because my grades were terrible. Like I would not.
Oh yeah.
Because it's the kind of thing where, you know, my mom is an immigrant from Italy, right? And she came here. She grew up super poor, and what immigrants want is for their child, to have a better life than they did. And what that usually entails is become a doctor, become a lawyer, become a scientist, something, you know, prestigious and well educated, blah blah blah. So that was just my plan by default, you know, because she was sort of softly like pushing me in that direction. And not that she was super supportive, like, and accepting of a musical career, though. I don't want to make it sound like she was like, no, you have to be. Yeah, she was super chill with music. But yeah, so I on a whim just like signed up for MIA, the college course, where I ended up meeting Jan, and yeah, that was
Nice.
pretty much it. I just like being in control. That aspect of it is very appealing to me.
Nice.
And
Yeah, I totally relate to that for sure.
yeah, I could psychoanalyze why I like that feeling a little bit, but that's a bit of a tangent. I have a theory though. I think I know why I feel that way. It was like I like a bird's eye view sort of look at a song to be able to manipulate it, because every single, I don't know if you guys played a lot of video games as a kid, but I did not have a PS, like a console, you know what I'm saying? Like I did not have any of that, or a mobile. I only had
didn't
just
have a
my
childhood?
dad's
Okay.
clunky
Go on.
90s. Exactly. Thank you, Jan. I only had my dad's like clunky 90s like PC running like Windows 95 or Windows XP or something. And he just had like a handful of games just lying around that he used to play, but he didn't anymore. So, and it was all like his thing was like the 90s RTS.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
strategy games. And that is like, this is just my position of comfort. It's like, I'm a bird's eye view. I'm just telling everybody what to do from like a, you know what I'm saying? From like a control
Yeah, yeah.
room distance. That's this silly little connection that I made. That was like, I bet you that's why this is my position of comfort in a musical context. It's because like, that's what I spent my childhood doing, just playing games where that is my perspective. And
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why I psychoanalyzed myself like that, but hey, it's kind of interesting.
It is very interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And Jayan, what about you?
So I really feel like career-wise or music-wise, it's like I have a lot of moments of epiphanies where I'm like, wow, this got me to here and this got me to here. But the starting point of all that was when I was in the 8th grade and I was walking in the hallway and I saw a piece of paper that said Guitar Club, twice a week, $20 for the year. And I said, fine, okay. And it's all stemmed from the guitar. I don't even play guitar anymore, but getting in that guitar club and finding out the ways you can express yourself with music. And I had no idea how much passion and how much love there was for audio and music when I entered that first time in the room. I did not know how it would change my life to put me on the path that I am today. But I would say that's the starting point of it all. That's what got me into YouTube, into studios, into broadcast audio, into television, into content creation, to podcasting, into everything. You know, that was the starting point.
So how did you make the leap from guitar to like the recording, like production side of things?
I slowly like faded away. The more I got into engineering, the less I got into guitar.
Okay.
You know? And then when I got into Concordia, the electroacoustic program, where like you do not need an acoustic instrument necessarily. You could just plug in cables into a modular synth and like recreate an acoustic guitar. I was like, you know what? I like this. I like this. I would book sessions all the time, and I would book session with other people. Be like, oh, who wants to come in? Oh, do you need an extra person to just, you know, we've gone over this before, but you know, like used and abused my studio time as much as possible.
Yeah, so was the first thing that you recorded your own guitar playing?
I think it was. The first thing I ever posted was me playing piano.
Oh, is that still up?
Yeah. Oh, those were the good old days.
Is that still on YouTube from 2010?
No. I posted in 2010, but like my content from 2010 to mid 2013 was like I just deleted it off YouTube. I was like, this doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, man,
and even like
I did not realize how long this guy has been at it. We were talking about the other day. 2010 was like there were like 3 YouTubers back then, and Jan was
me
one of
and
them.
Ray William Johnson and
Exactly.
and, yeah.
Do you remember when YouTube was this exciting new thing? Like, are you guys old enough to remember like that era?
I still feel like it's an exciting new thing, man.
Well.
Yeah. Quick parentheses. No, I'm telling you, as a content creator, YouTube Shorts have changed the game, bro. YouTube Shorts, Reels, repurposing all my content. Like I've been spending the last few weeks just like going through like all 300 plus of my covers and like re-editing all of them into Reels and re-uploading all of them, and that's why I'm posting like every single day. Like I've been posting every single day for like 3 months now because I have so much content to put out.
And speaking of content, like you're constantly working on projects and Q as well, and so am I. And that's kind of part of the reason, unfortunately, we had to end the podcast in a way,
Oh, who's got the time for a podcast these days? I got bills to pay, honey.
No, not that. It's just, Giant is taking on projects. I recently took on a new project, and eventually it just became like a time management thing. Having to work on multiple projects at the same time. We didn't want to affect the quality of our content of our episodes. So we felt like this was a pretty good place to end the project.
Exactly. But you know what they say, Anthony? Don't smile because it happened. Cry because it's over. Or shit, the other way.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Opposite.
You.
Yeah, you know what the fuck I'm trying to say.
Yes.
This guy's got a radio voice and he's got the radio quotes.
I bring the backwards freaking proverbs for everybody. Wait, what is the actual thing? Don't
cry because it's over.
Don't.
No, you got it right. You killed it.
Don't smile because it happened. Don't cry.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh my god, I'm like flustered today. I'm too sleep deprived for this. Don't cry because it happened. Smile because it's over. Because it was way too much work. It was too much editing.
Jesus Christ, you.
Okay, wait.
No.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because there it is. I got there. I got there
that's
eventually.
it. That's
See,
the
I just
one.
needed a minute to work that one out. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on.
So yeah, I mean, this was a pretty good place to end, and we didn't want to compromise the quality of the production. So we had a pretty good run, and these episodes aren't going anywhere. They're gonna stay on all social media platforms and all streaming platforms. So they will be there forever, and you can always take a listen when you miss us and you want to hear our voices. I'd like to do a little recap. What are some of the most important topics that have come up on the podcast? Whether it's guest based or non-guest based. Like for me, for example, I really resonated with Danielle Savage when she was talking at some point. She was talking about enjoying the creation process a little more than releasing the project. Falling in love with the creation process. You have to kind of let go of the creation process at some point to just release your work. Because if you keep on working on it, it's never going to be heard by anybody else other than your ears. So when she said that really stuck out to me,
Yeah, I have heard that people will say if you're enjoying the process, not just the product, but the actual process of creating it, that will translate through to the actual music, and it's an infectious sort of attitude that you're having fun. What I'm saying is, if you're having fun making it, people will probably have fun listening to it.
Right, but I think what she was saying at that point was obviously enjoy making it, have fun making it, but at a certain point, it becomes too much. Like it's kind of like the parent that doesn't want to let their child go because to grow up, like to release the project. Basically.
Oh yeah,
you don't.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
There's a term for that, right? Like the analysis paralysis. You're like, oh God, is it perfect? And you just have to let go in your brain of the idea of perfection because it's just it's never gonna be. it's never going to exist in the state that it exists in your head, where it's just flawless. So you just have to let it go. Exactly. That's a good metaphor, like a child.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, and Jayan, what about you? What was one topic that, came up on the podcast that really stuck with you?
There's so many to choose from.
Yeah, I know.
There's too many to choose from.
I wrote down a whole list, and I just, I had to just choose one.
Yeah, out of all of those ones, they're all great. They're all amazing. I think I just really enjoyed having Jacob on as a guest. I really want to highlight him as an individual. He
tell me about Jacob, because I was not present for this episode.
Yeah, he's like I want Q to meet Jacob. I want everyone to meet Jacob. I want everyone to sit down and talk to him.
Jacob is the type of person where you really you can sit down and talk to for hours, and you'll just learn things, and he's a funny guy, so you'll laugh.
Oh, very nice. What does he do? Like, what's his actual profession?
He's a mixing engineer.
Mixing, okay.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is his episode was one where you really got to understand what it takes and what you need to put into this if you really want to do it. I think he's one of the few that really, really resonates. When I have those types of conversations with him, it's like I can talk like to someone who fully gets it, who fully understands it. And like, I know it's kind of become a meme where I'm like, oh, you got to grind, you got to work hard. I know it's kind of a meme with like people in my friend circle, but it's beyond true when you speak with him and you realize the hard work he's put into this. And he's got all of my respect, and I really wanted Anthony to meet him to get all of what needs to be done and everything. And I was like, you gotta apply to this place, you gotta work here, you gotta do that. And I think that, he's self-made and he's very successful, and he just has all of my respect. And to this day, I haven't worked with him as an engineer in over 3 years, but I'm still calling him every other month, being like, hey, bro, like, I need advice about this, da-da-da. And that entire episode we did with him, which I believe is episode 3, is just 2 hours of that. 2 hours of pure, amazing audio advice. Mm-hmm. Go watch that episode. If there's any to highlight, I mean, they're all amazing, but that one, like, really stuck out for me. So that's my answer.
Has he been working in this field for a while? Like, he's pretty experienced?
He did MIA the year before me.
Oh, so he's not like much older than us.
No. I'm older than him. And he got to Montreal, and he got into Planet, and he stuck it out for a really long time, and he worked on amazing projects, and he was like the head engineer for a long time.
Yeah, 5 years, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. I came around in 2020, and I was there for about a year, and like I really got to see the man work. Like I remember, like I'll give this story. I was probably my second week at Planet, and Anthony, Studio 2.
Yeah.
I saw him run a full orchestra session by himself, patch bay, mics, everything, stand, like he just ran the whole thing. I just kind of sat there, and he's like,
Dang.
okay, knob this preamp for me, do this preamp for me, all right, lift this fader for me, all right. Like I was just like a body just being told what to do. And I was like, you can do that? How can you do that? That's insane. And it's like a big, like hundreds of thousands of dollar project. I feel like it was no joke. It was multiple days, and he ran it flawlessly. And I was like, this man's on another level. And he all the pressure was on him, and he performed amazingly. And he's
an orchestra. Okay,
one of a kind.
To any aspiring engineers in our audience, don't do that. Have an assistant engineer at your orchestra session. That is inadvisable. But because hey, who out here is a Jacob? No, nobody. But
not everyone.
That's
he's
very
one of a kind.
though.
He makes it look super easy. He makes it look so easy. You go there, you walk into that place, you see him do what he does, and it's like, oh, I can do that. And then he leaves for a week, and you're like calling him every other hour, be like, how do you plug this in? What's this? What's that? He's that guy. He's that guy. And he inspires me, but I also want to be as good as me. So as good as him. Sorry. Like he motivates me to work hard, and that's what I love about him. He's one of a kind, a fantastic human being.
So would I know any projects that he's mixed for in Montreal? Because I know like a decent amount of
Charlie
locals.
Puth.
Charlie Puth.
Yeah.
He engineered a vocal recording for Charlie Puth. Like he set up the mic and stuff like that.
Oh wow! And that was that Planet.
Yeah, that was a Planet. He worked on Half Moon Run. He's worked on Corneille.
Oh yeah, he won a Juno for Half Moon Run.
I like.
He's got a whole website. Like if you just go to the episode that we did with him, all of his links are there.
Yeah.
I like Half Moon Run a lot. They've got a couple cool songs. I should sit down for a full album. I think I've only heard like the hits. But wow, Charlie Puth, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. What about you, Q? Like, I know that you were only on one guest episode, but like we did have conversational episodes. Was there anything that stuck out?
Honestly, like just that entire experience of like just sitting down and having a conversation with not with nothing. You know, I was writing bullet points, but I was basically going off the cuff. I was nervous to do it, but having experienced it, I'm like, you know what? It's not so scary, and it really upped my confidence in that skill set quite a lot. And for that reason, it has inspired. This probably won't happen for quite a while, like probably until next year. But like, I do kind of want to pursue that direction more, because what I've decided to do kind of with my career, since Jean and I were discussing this a while ago about like, you know, AI and like a lot of processes are being automated, and is that going to affect the job market in the audio world? And I don't think it's the end of the world. I think I have a slightly more optimistic view than Jean on this, but
it's over. It's over, bro. It's
he's
over.
the doomsayer today. But
I'm telling you, I'm literally rethinking like my career path based off of like what I'm seeing.
Me too. Yeah. And me too, exactly. So I'm just thinking like I want to throw every possible like thing that I can do out there. Just put it out and see what sticks. And because I could be comfortable, I could be really fulfilled by a career that is music adjacent. If I'm in music journalism, that's cool with me. If I'm like a critic or whatever, that's fine. If I'm like editing dialogue for a film, if I'm doing whatever, mixing, I'm cool with all of it, because it's just music is a thing that I enjoy. I don't have to be in this specific, like I'm a producer, I make the beats and then people come in. Like I don't have like a narrow specific just dream. I'm kind of just walking in this general direction of music. So that's kind of what I got out of it, of the conversations with you, is that I was like, oh shit, this is something I can do. And this is something that like I kind of enjoy. So, you know, it opened my mind a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of wanted to shift the conversation slightly, to talk about your favorite advice from any of our guests that stood out to you. What was one of, I know there were so many. They were all original. They were all amazing. They were all just interesting to hear somebody's perspective and somebody's advice. For example, one that really stuck out for me was Juan Gomez. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, just learn. Just learn. You're never done learning, and don't act like you know everything. That was one of my favorite. What were yours?
Me?
Any of you?
I feel like I'll say this, all guests that we had on are all so different. And they're all in the field of audio, and all of them will give you particular, that was a thing for, like, if you're only listening to this episode and you don't have the context, like at the end of every guest episode, we would ask, what is your advice for someone who wants to enter the space of sound? Something like that, basically. And every guest gave their own point of view and their own advice. I can only remember mine. I can only remember the one I gave on the first episode, because Anthony and I answered that question ourselves on the very first episode. And because it's the only one I can remember, I'm not saying my own is my favorite, but I'll just repeat that one, just to at least answer something.
Yeah.
Mine was just, and classic me, outwork everyone else. Just if you work harder than everyone else around you, I know it sounds like, what? It's that simple, but it's, if you really apply yourself and outwork people around you, it will take you to places you can even imagine. It's like I said, like in music industry arts, in electroacoustic studies at Concordia, or at my film music graduate diploma, In all of those programs, I can guarantee you 2 things. I never had any of the best marks, and I never had the most talent out of any of those people. Everyone had slightly better sounding mixes, slightly sounding better compositions. I was not there when I compared myself to the others, and when I listened like critically, and I was like, okay, my mix could have been better here. Oh, it's too mid-rangey here, whatever. But the thing I had above anyone else is I worked harder than any of them. I told myself that if I put in 6 more hours than them every single day, they might be more talented, but at the end of it, I'll be way ahead in my career, and I'll be, I'll have pushed myself to a level where I'm proud of myself. And that's coming to fruition every month of my life. Something cool is happening, something great is happening, and it's because I put in all that work back then and continue to put in that work now. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
That's good, man.
that's true. If you work harder than everybody else, you'll be on top of everybody else. You'll be ahead of your career. Now that Soundspace is done, what do you have to come? Like, what projects are you working on these days?
There's still the anime music covers that are going to come out. There's the game music covers that are going to come out. Like, for example, in February, I posted one every single day. Like I said, I took all of my old covers and I made them all into reels. Like, I literally spent like 4 days rendering clip after clip after clip in DaVinci. And like timeline after timeline, it took forever. I redesigned all the thumbnails for my covers. I'm working on a full-length Chip Machine record, a single and an EP, possibly full-length just this year. I'm going to go on other people's podcasts and guests on them. I'm going to be a guest. I want to spread that out. I have anime podcasters, and I'm working on Soundspace gave me a lot of ideas, and I want to integrate some of that workflow into other projects. So I'm definitely working on other like interviewee type stuff. Like, I have ideas. It's very, very, very just idea right on a piece of paper right now, but like over time. And then, career stuff. I'm going to keep doing working in location audio. I'm still going to work in studios. I'm still going to do film music composition for the companies I freelance for, and I'm still going to freelance for customers. Like I said to Q and you when we met up and we sat down at a restaurant, like the time that Soundspace took, the second it stopped, it just got filled up by everything else.
I'm with Jan on this one in terms of like being a guest. Hell yeah, dude. Imagine just walking into a podcast, talking for a bit, and then being like, see ya, and no editing, no RX8, like no work that needs to be done. Also, that sounds amazing. Sign me up.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of process, but there's a lot of work, and we all knew that. Going into this, we all knew that there's a lot of work going into it. There's a lot of editing. There's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of research. We knew that. So I think that's a wrap, guys.
Oh yeah, man. Much love to you both.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
All the listeners.
Obviously, we appreciate the listeners, but I'm glad to have done this with you guys.
You too, man.
Yeah, and let me say this. I know we said final episode, but nothing in life is final until you're not here anymore. That's
exactly.
all I'm gonna say.
We're all three of us are going to be working nonstop on other stuff. Our names are going to be popping up all over the place.
Goodbye for now.
Yeah,
is what I would say.
No, I mean goodbye from Soundspace. But we're all, like we said, we're all working on amazing projects right now, and you can always follow us there and see what we're up to, and you can message us and you can talk to us. We'd be glad to answer.
Exactly. Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for some spicy Q mixes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, nice. Yeah, exactly. So for myself, for Jayan, and for Q, this was the last episode of Soundspace. Cheers.
Peace.
Bye, guys.